I will see you guys in about
Okay.
six minutes, so you guys can discuss what happened for you all leading to this point, and then we're gonna hit the ground running. For
Okay.
those in the back who did not quite grasp that tonight is special not only because of Fancy's birthday, but also because this is the final episode of Lost Wages and Second Chances fourth season. It is entitled A Breast Adorned in Roses. So a quick respite and then we will hit the ground running. So see you all in a few short moments. Testing, testing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Being heard is nice. For the record, once again, from the top, with the feeling, welcome to Lost Wages, Second Chances. Welcome to this dark version, and only slightly so, of Las Vegas. We are all aware as to where these characters of this coterie, well, almost coterie, potential coterie, should be coterie, are. Correct? We are aware as to where we are actually beginning.
Yeah. The vast majority of us are in Fancy's hotel. The other one is getting the nice touch of CSI Miami.
So, there are several times in the life and existence of every being where the feces that have hit the fan is dry and running at the exact same time. Just huge gobbets and chunks of things you would much rather not know exist, let alone have touch you. So everyone runs for the hills when these huge pieces and detritus of waste begin flying around. Unfortunately, in moments such as these, there are very few places where one can run and avoid, where one can hide, touch, physically, emotionally, by the catastrophe of all of those chickens coming home to roost. Las Vegas is always a city in turmoil. It is always a city that hides behind a mask of hospitality. It is always on the verge of collapse. It is a oasis in the middle of the desert. It requires vast amounts of water transported in. It requires a vast amount of everything necessary for continued existence to be transported in. The water, the food, the vegetation, the people who come pouring their life's blood in the form of green lucre into the city. All of it comes from elsewhere. In moments where that is disrupted, disturbed, or otherwise negatively impacted, you throw the very entirety of the ecosystem into an uproar. And nothing throws the city into an uproar like the promise, the threat, the whiff of violence against tourists. To individuals who have their fingers in places you would much rather not be aware of. Law enforcement, the judicial, the young dudes on the street. Those people, when the whiff of violence against tourists reaches the ecosystem, they go into high alert. They start spending as much money as is necessary to find those responsible, to punish those responsible, to make an example of those responsible for threatening everyone. There are several billions of dollars that flow through Las Vegas. Those billions hinge on the idea that millionaires are created daily. Those billions are not completely ever properly tabulated because everyone else is wetting their beak. The Game Commission does its best to run a fair tourist trade. The truth of the matter is, there's only so much they can account for. The rest of that is solely the purview of each of those separate domains, each of those casinos who are part of the biosphere of Las Vegas. A threat to one is a threat to all. You have never seen enemies more entrenched and dedicated to protecting their enemies than when there is a threat to that. When the fabric is beginning to fray. When there's a chance that someone has risked or attempted to curtail the lifeblood of the city. And that's where we pick up emotionally. There's a saying that a lie can run around halfway around the world before the truth gets his pants on. And that is entirely factually true. Lies travel fast. Gossip and rumors travel fast. Horses are riled up fast. So, Martha, as you step back away from your vehicle, as the officers are clearly intent, for the record, what is your streetwise, Martha?
I'm not even sure if I have one. I don't have.
Oh, that is absolutely lovely. That explains why, unlike Senor King and Mr. Denny, you didn't understand to always stay in your vehicle. However, at a small penalty of lack of skill and experience, we will test the waters and see which way fate blows for you. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus insight? Your DC is 4. And while that roll is happening, Martha, the truth of the matter is, fate hangs in the balance and is waiting on your very next inhalation of air. And while it waits with bated breath, in the present situation of where you are, with all things being what they've been, and you having stepped away to touch base with your mom, with you having stepped away to touch base with your people, persons that matter to you. Because in the chaos, in the maelstrom of what took place, it is very true and litigiously factual that your life flashed before your eyes. None can say that you are a coward. Discretion is, of course, the better part of valor. However, seeing everything that you've worked for hang in the balance, everything that you've died for, potentially teetering away in the toss of a random die, is a lot to deal with. How best do you commiserate what you've experienced while touching base with those that matter to you?
Well, in Ryan's case, since his first instinct would be to, contact his mother, that's most likely where he's going to leave the majority of his emotional baggage, because honestly, there's not too many other people that he's willing or capable of having a heart-to-heart with. The only problem is that when talking to his mother, he can't exactly express what play-by-play happened. Another thing that, as he's realizing he doesn't have too many people that he can actually talk to, sets in on him is that the memory of his touchstone being swarmed there in the casino, and him having decided that instead of intervening in that moment, he had better go and help his coterie. And so as he's talking to his mother, and that's flowing through him, he doesn't. There's not exactly a catharsis that can be reached, but there is a kind of pale acceptance. Though, after getting through that turbulent conversation, I think he.
What?
What?
What's the tenor of that conversation? We know the theme of it. We know the story of it. We know what he's trying to express without actually expressing. But what is the tenor of that conversation? Because it's just the same as I cleaned my clothes today. Not a great moment. It doesn't tell you everything. But if you hear that I checked all of the pockets of my clothes and found that, just like expected, there were several dollars left lying fallow from the last time I actually wore those jeans or those slacks, and I separated them into color and weight of cloth, and I made sure to spot clean those areas from the last time that I had pasta. I don't mention how or why it was time for me to do my laundry. Most people don't even consider that being a noteworthy event. However, I'm doing my laundry because there's a funeral that I must attend to. A friend of the family that I grew up with. And the last time that I had pasta was not the last time that I saw them, but it is very close. We got together for a nice home-cooked potluck. There was pasta and garlic bread and several different versions of salad and drinks, and we whiled away the night until the sun came up. So as you sit with your mother, and avoid saying specifically that you saw Natalia in the path of a engine of destruction, as you avoid knowing that you had to choose between them and your business partners, your found family, your coterie, as you avoid going into detail, what's the tenor of your conversation?
It's very much a hi, Mum. Did you make sure to take your pills tonight? I'm just checking in, making sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to. I know that it's annoying sometimes, but it just came to mind. Did you lock the doors? Double check everything.
There's a moment as you're saying repeatedly over and over in differing varieties that you love her, that you care for her, that you keep seeing Natalia's face, her eyes cutting to you, her masking that she knows you because she knows your issues there at the Black Dog. She wants to keep you safe. And there are several times as you repeatedly in various ways and continued differing ways remind your mom that you love her. The weight of your choice there in the moment dances past your periphery and sits boldly there in front of you. You chose the dead thing instead of Natalia. You so kind of go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure, your DC, because you do believe in your heart of hearts that Natalia is no longer with you, that she is no longer in existence. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure, and your DC is 3.
Okay.
Because it is a weight to maintain the road, to keep the path, to not be pulled astray, to not be pulled off your point, to not have the weight of the world crash down on you and you give up the ghost.
Oh, that's bad.
And while that role is happening, Fancy, it's been a hell of a night. It's been a hell of a decade, last few weeks, last few months. The city is on fire. And no, it doesn't seem like it. The same passers, those who stand out there with the business cards and the postcards and the flyers, making sure that the tourists moving up and down the strip, they are still out there. They're still forcing their advertisements into people's hands. Those same billboards are still rotating on the electronic cab lights. So you see various houses of massage and various deals and various shows. The same blithely unaware oohs and ahs are happening there on the strip. The same fat cats are sitting with their cigars in back rooms. The same noises of the streets are out there happening. And it only lends credence to the idea that Nero fiddled as Rome burned. Yes, it was a whole marketing strategy to shame and ruin his name. But the truth of the matter is, the myth is more likely truer than not when in this situation, you know that with the black dog going up in flames, what took place there is enough to have the National Guard called out. You are sure that men somewhere, women somewhere are yelling into phones and marshaling their forces to find whom was responsible. You know, it's only a matter of time before someone knocks on someone else's door and there's nothing but blood and pain. What, if anything, are you attempting presently?
First things would be she has to clean up after her meal, and make a plausible way for this young lady to have gone missing, and sets a reminder for herself to anonymously send any family a bit of cash or boon or something so that the money that she would be working for them won't be missed right away. And then I'm going to go check on the others because it's been too long. We need to regroup and see what everybody's doing, and make plans for what's coming next. You know, there's about to be a shitstorm.
A veritable tsunami of people overreacting with less than a healthy dose of logic. Everyone understands there is a nuclear option for everything that crawls in the dark. For all of the small time cons, the almost criminals, the non-mastermind level of plotters and planners, the ecosystem, as it were, the lower orders that, much like in the real world, eventually devour the lion through sheer numbers when the lion is old and dies and molders. They take all the lion was back to the soil, back to the earth. There's a nuclear option. It's not the best option. It's the easiest option for many. Because sometimes all you need is the theater of security. All you need is someone to make a right and proper example of, so that others avoid the weight of your judgment. So as you go to check on your coterie, you go to check on everybody else. Is there a member of your lost family that you are attempting to touch base with first?
Well, Ryan, thank you, because he got me out, so I'll be running to Ryan first.
That gives you the opportunity. That gives you an opportunity to play, well, savior of sorts.
Okay.
Would you be so kind as to roll your plus leadership or manipulation plus insight? You are rolling, you need 3 successes to pause, 4 successes to be completely successful. While that roll is happening, and while that tempting of fate's hand is in the offing, Eugene, you've been in Vegas long enough. The flow of the night was long your only lullaby. The nightlife, in all of its many flavors, has always been your saving grace. Even during your living days, working your way up one cast off job after the next. It is all you know. So when there's a disturbance in the force of this magnitude, when the money is threatened, when the trickle down of all of the hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, a change to the sound of the night, small, unnoticeable by everyone who does not earn their daily bread in doing the things that shouldn't be done, or the things that are rude, illegal, the things that are ruled not moral enough, the things that are off book, out of notice, the things that go bump in the shadows. And that's where Eugene has always lived. So knowing that there will be a mass casualty event coming up in response to this, because examples must be made. This can't be allowed to stand, because it is a threat to the very foundations of the system. Heads, along with other body parts, will roll. What is it that Eugene is in fact up to?
Eugene is going to. Oh God. First, he's going to shower and change clothes and get out of the bloody gear that he's in right now. First and foremost. Secondly, once he's done and into a new better suit. He's going to see if anyone is in the hotel that we're in now that can possibly be in a generous mood and donate. And if he can do that, he'll do that first, and then after that, he'll look for fancy.
Okay. What is his predator chart?
Extortionist.
So he's not one who's asking for anything. He's not a seducer. He's not one who uses soft, gentle tactics. He's one who literally applies pressure to any available weakness in his victims. Now the question is, knowing who he is underneath it all, does he continue lying to himself and using euphemisms, or does in the pursuit, is he blatantly honest with himself? Does he further pull the smoke and mirrors over his own eyes every opportunity he gets?
Well, he's not lying to himself at all. Donation is just a nice way to say who's available alone that he can go ahead and take advantage of.
So he likes using euphemisms as a way to stack the deck in his favor, to gently stroke the public perception of himself to himself. Because there's no one there but him as he finishes preening, tending to his vanity out of mostly necessity, to make sure that he's not a ghastly ghoul stalking the halls. There's also a semblance of, I wouldn't want to be seen with myself at present. It wouldn't do. And as he stalks and prowls, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your manipulation plus intimidation, DC 3. As he stalks and prowls the halls, as he sizes up victims, as he seeks to exploit and violently coerce his victims into positions of weakness that he can hold over their head to get what it is that he needs. And while that role is in the offing, while that tempting of fate's hand is taking hold, every living being has a sixth sense, a combination of genetic memory, emotional experiences, and their own paranoia that jangles the nerves, causes the butterflies in the stomach, causes the heart to beat faster in preparation of either fight or flight. Every living being knows when there is a predator near enough at hand that they are at risk. Unfortunately for Martha, she is no longer living. unfortunately for Martha, she blithely believes that in a moment of danger, in a moment of stress, that the police are the safest persons for her. Now, she has survived in Las Vegas long enough to have heard on constant side conversations with her boss, with her victims, with those in her coterie. There's no trusting the police. Every major criminal outfit in Las Vegas, in the outlying county, in the outlying state, have their fingers, their toes, and their various other appendages shoved deeply into the pockets and other orifices of the law enforcement officers of Las Vegas. As little as a few weeks ago, while alighting at Fancy's, they were besieged by several law enforcement agencies who were co-opted. And yet, some habits die the hardest of deaths. It's hard for Martha to shake her trust in law enforcement officers. So she does not realize, when she establishes a distance between her car, that she's in jeopardy, that she is in danger. As the officer pulls you from the car and you walk with him and you're talking with him as you move closer to his vehicle, is there anything that Martha is saying, any conversation that she's having? Right this way, Miss Finch. And do you have any idea of your driver's license or your registration on you?
No. Possibly.
Why don't you go ahead and get that for me, Miss French, and we can go ahead. You know what? Why don't you step into the back seat and have a sit down? We want to make sure that everyone's as safe as possible. Go ahead and move around to the passenger side of the car, Miss French, and then give me your ID and your registration for your vehicle.
All right. I do as I'm told.
As he opens the passenger side rear door for you, you slide in, rummaging through your bag, getting your driver's license and your registration out of your belongings. Most police cars have a roll cage to keep whoever's in the back safe if the vehicle rolls over. Most police cars have a lack of space where you put your feet, because if there's a more difficult opportunity for you to get free or try to escape, the safer it is for the officers in the front seat and those who are giving pursuit. Because if it takes you longer to get out because your feet don't have the leg room necessary, it's easy for them to curtail you escaping. It's easier to curtail you taking flight. Rarely do you have enough room in any police car to wiggle your feet and stretch out some. You are, in fact, able to do so. Most police cars don't have an actual full-fledged floor to ceiling silvered metalled barrier. Most. This one does. Cross-hatched bars that go from bolted into the floor all the way up to the ceiling. There's nice silvery polished metal, almost as if it was freshly done within the last month, last week, last couple of nights. And as you rummage and go ahead, slide in. I'm just gonna go ahead and close this. I'm gonna make sure that your car is locked up. Go ahead, slide over a little bit.
Sure.
And as he closes the door, leaving you there in the back by yourself. He moves towards your vehicle. And normally, your train of thought would be broken up by the constant flow of communication via the police radio. Instead, you've got Frank Sinatra singing My Way. You've got a nice, soothing serenade happening. There's none of the there's none of that. There's actual radio playing. And as something stirs, you just gave him your driver's license and your registration, but he had already been calling you Miss H.
Yeah. That's worrying.
And as the seconds tick by, and you're looking out the window and looking behind you, taking in the feel of what's going on inside of the vehicle that you are in. Is there anything that you might be considered? Is there anything that you might be dealing with? Because while you've dealt with and been around and sat in a few police cars, you normally sit in front when you're talking to them because you've been helping someone, or they pull you away from helping someone who's homeless or on the strip where they shouldn't be. It's different experience being in the cage in the back with the door closed. Now, you've been in the back of a police car with the door open, you and the officer having a lovely conversation about where you can and can't help the homeless person or the person who didn't have the money, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's even just to get you up. Sometimes you've actually been able to turn it into a feeding event for yourself. It's different when the door is closed. It's different when you're in the cage. It's different when your freedom of mobility, your freedom of movement is dependent upon someone else who is standing at your car, leaning against the driver door on his cell phone. Speaking of a call for help, Fancy, having left the hotel, having tracked down Orion as best as he can, certain things that every kindred knows. Besides, never fight a land war in Asia and never deal with a Sicilian when matters of life and death are being wagered. But there are several things that kindred know. Being alone with a living being while in a emotional state is about the worst thing you can do as a kindred. The beast will out. And the very idea that you will use the term the beast to describe all of your worst compunctions, all of your intrusive thoughts, all of that negative self-negging that you all do, that every being does, only furthers to show why that's a piss poor idea. Because the dishonesty in looking at all of that malevolence in the heart of you, all of that selfishness, all of that attempt to distance yourself from the things that you find odious, only helps it hide. You should never be alone in an emotional state. So as you stumble upon Ryan, not far from where you all are, not far from you have your headquarters, not far from the hotel that you've all stolen by hook and by crook. The fact that he is alone in the sea of so many easy, delectable, victims is equally as heinous, potentially for him, because his tears that are streaking down his cheeks are not, in fact, salty reminders of his humanity. They are nearly bright red reminders as to how inhuman he is. His shoulders hunched, his body contorted with the soon to be released fullness of all of that opposite number. What is it that you do?
Hey, I thought we weren't supposed to be splitting up right now. What's going on?
I assume I don't exactly have right control of myself in this moment.
You have, with the expenditure of a willpower, one action. Do you spend that willpower?
Well, yeah, definitely. As he just kind of covering his eyes as best he can, just leans away and just, Fancy, I'm sorry, but I can't keep a hold of myself. And holding himself back from whatever urges are overcoming him, and sending that message through is gonna be his action there.
She's gonna probably do a stupid thing, but he did it for her, so she's gonna do it back. And she walks up to him, looks up at him in his face, and throws her arms around his waist and gives him the biggest hug she can manage and just hold on.
Aww. Like a fish biting under the hook.
There are very few things that matter most except for the act of living. Breathing, eating, continuing on. Even in the greatest moments of trauma. The act of living. The body craves for food and sustenance. The mind attempts to shield you from all of the trauma that you've experienced. The heart keeps beating, the lungs keep breathing, and that drive, as much as you want to escape it when this shit hits the fan, does not stop. It doesn't give up. It's an incredible act of will to force yourself into situations where self-deletion is possible. It is a sad day and a sad state of affairs, but it is not an easy thing. It's the reason why normally it takes several attempts, okay, I survived this. I can go a little deeper. I can go a little farther, and I can travel down the lane a few more houses. Putting your existence on the line for another person is no less easy. And as Fancy wraps herself around Ryan, shielding him from the world, there is a brief understanding as to what is actually being done. There are those who lay across the line. There are those who dive on the grenade. There are those who put themselves in harm's way for others. And in this moment, that's exactly what Fancy does. She, in doing so, incidentally knocks Ryan's phone from his hand so his mother doesn't hear the slavering. She, wrapping herself around him, keeps him shielded from those passers-by so that he doesn't have the opportunity of lashing out at them and have a chance to vent his beast and make the worst of a bad situation. would you be so kind as to go ahead and use the /frenzy DC 2, right?
Alrighty. It's gonna be a failure on my end. It was a coin flip right there.
There was an attempt. There was a better angel attempting to slide into place. Hungry wolf will hunt. There's that old aphorism about the two wolves, and you feed the wolf so that it's stronger. The wolf that you don't feed becomes wilier. The wolf you don't feed becomes more desperate. The wolf you don't feed understands that it is always a matter of life and death. And that sinks its fangs through you into fancy. It's slavering, craven, starvation, giving physical form. This threatens to snatch reason from you, Fancy. As there is a connection that occurs, a sharing of someone else's pain. There is the very real opportunity for you to drown under the heady exchange of emotions that the kiss provides. To be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure as high as you can. And as that moment crawls over the both of you, far enough away to be considered halfway around the world, even though it's far closer. Far enough away to be removed from that moment, that heightened version of yourselves. The giving, the taking, the light and dark melding into one beautifully unctuous consommé. Eugene, the beast will out. There are things that must be tended. There are basic necessities that no amount of humanity will ever make right, nor excuse. There are just things that need to happen. What needs to happen? What is happening? What you refuse to not let happen is that you vent drives your need for sustenance. Would you be so kind as to, when cornering the perversion depraved gambler alone in his room, the men and women of the night that were formerly spending the day with, the overheard conversations about the monies being obtained from various accounts, the sniffing around and praying for the weaker edges, a moment to find what's exploitable. You find the embezzlement of funds, the misuse of company finances, the wild and lascivious parties, the usury of other humans, which would normally be enough to have your way with most people with an ethical compunction. None of that. None of that. Not one strand of that is the weakness. The weakness was the BBL and tummy tuck that they used to jumpstart their natural fitness empire. The pectoral implants, the steroid use, was used as the base to start their You have them alone. You've forced them back into their little suite of rooms. You've made sure that there's no one there but them and you. How is it that Eugene gets what he needs from this gentleman?
Okay. Should I attempt to use coercion or just straight raw intimidation for this?
Well, your hunting roll was successful. You have your victim. You are alone with them. How is it that you push that boulder out of your way to get to the top of Mount Etna? How do you get what it is that you need in this detritus of human society? This proud and glorious charlatan who doesn't care about all of the deplorable things that would normally cause others to sign over their wealth, their firstborn child, to anything to keep you from being able to mention it to someone. No, none of that mattered. What mattered was that you found out that they are not natty, bro. You found out that they had a BBL, tummy tuck, a pec insert. They've had work done on their jawline, and it's not all mogging. They are on the juice. That's their weakness of all the things. Not the depraved sexual libations, not the misuse of company funds, not the bilking their clients, but the fact that they've had work done, cosmetic and otherwise. That's it. Their vanity, their public persona, it's their weak spot.
Is there some way that Eugene can, i.e., expose this, i.e., where he can actually force them to allow this to happen, i.e., he has some information that will let them know that he knows that they know what they have and what they done, so that he can force them into willingly allowing him to feed? Or is it just something that he just kind of knows?
He is aware. He has been successful. He has winnowed a calf from the herd of other bovines. The hind. He has the target of his hunt. He is alone with them.
He grabs the guy by his peg, the fake peg. He just puts one finger across his face. If you don't want anyone else to know, quiet. Then he begins to feed.
Does he have a care as to how much of their essence he pulls from them?
He's down 3. So he's going to be down none when he's done.
So he takes the high-rolling monster and he drains the entirety of his existence. He takes all that was inside that man and empties it. He slurps down the last heart's blood of his existence. All of that cocaine and cognac laced salty essence. He empties it.
Okay.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and adjust Eugene's hunger to 0? And without ratting yourself out too much, because we know that you are a teetotaler and you don't do such things, but how would Eugene respond being for the first time in his existence completely over the moon? He feels like he could dance forever, sing forever, shoot forever. There's a boundless amount of energy that he immediately has access to. He feels enlivened. Every inch of him is alive with how vibrant the world is. How fast he is compared to the slow, plodding speed of the rest of the world. How he can do anything. I've been taking that guy down. There's no limit to his strength, his speed. The weight of his personality would normally crush a man as Eugene presently.
He put his coat back on, his overcoat, disposes of the body, and then he goes and looks for Fancy. He has a small smile to his face. He feels so much better, so much stronger. And you could tell by his gait, his strut is a little more commanding. He's walking like he's the king of the world almost. And you could tell by his walk that he is almost like he's 300 pounds and 7 feet tall. He's walking a little faster than he should be because of the cocaine, though.
A little. He is assuming, he is looking at a high rate of travel. He is, for lack of a better word, prancing and voguing as he moves. Though because it's a little jerky, a little too fast. Still well within the mortal range because he is not so gifted as to have celerity. But he is definitively grinding his jaw as he moves with the pace of an overcaffeinated toddler. And as he zooms through the hotel on cloud 9, it is 20 after the hour. Let's be back here at 30 after. And we are back. Who else has made it with us?
Yo.
Here.
I'm back.
Kind of bad.
Kinda is better than not. Welcome back, everyone. When we stepped away, things were converging. Moments were collapsing into themselves, folding inward, imploding. Even as outwardly and superficially, The world was enlivening itself in direct response to the previous actions of the coterie. Marta, her freedom is a thing of the past. Similarly, Ryan's freedom of thought no longer with us. Alternatively to that implosion, both Eugene and Fancy holding on to some small bit of themselves in the midst of the greatest passions they have ever had the opportunity of indulging in. Eugene's never had been a coke guy, never had been a drug guy. It was anathema to him giving himself over the power of narcotics. It was anathema to him giving himself over to the power of libations because it cost money. And that cost grew exponentially the least control one had. While it takes money to make money, in the grip of the demon in the bottle, the powder, the smoke, or the injectable, nothing but loss. When giving oneself over completely to the kiss, and the beast doing what the beast does, unmanning its owner, unmanning the authors of all of those intrusive thoughts, there's nothing but loss. And as Fancy finds herself swimming free of the full hold and grip of the beast, while still shielding wrapped around Ryan, Eugene zooms into the space. As you, Fancy, Ryan, slowly swimming in the midst of all of that murky goodness, that gauzy distance between himself and the world, where he can't be hurt, where he feels too good to be hurt. There's Eugene, moving like some tinker toy at the speed of thought. That's three of you all. You've all recently lost several members of the blood, several members of your coterie, several members of your family. So there's three of you all here when there should be more. Into this moment, what is it that we all do?
Have I now some loose control of my faculties? Oh, what's this? Bloop. Alright, well. In that case, I guess just unsheathing his fangs from Fancy, Ryan's going to wobble his way back to a hard surface so he can lean on it out of a kind of delirium, unable to keep himself stable, but also the burgeoning shadow of shame for his actions building. And it just... I'm sorry about that. What? Yeah, I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can say about that.
Rain, you kept me from getting snagged by the police. You kept me from killing her directly, which probably would have hurt me later. So I was full, and we both lost something tonight, pretty sure. Or several somethings tonight. So we're even. We only have us. Where the fuck is Martha? And what the hell is going on, Eugene? You're twitchier than fuck.
Oh, hi, Eugene. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, I didn't know y'all got down with it. It looks pretty interesting, but everything alright? I just came to see you guys.
For the most part, yeah.
I've seen dancers on drugs.
Well,
Right.
what do you mean, Fancy?
I'm in love with the coco.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know what you're talking about, Fancy. What are you talking about?
Well, you do look a little fucked up. Are you okay?
Yeah. Look, I have taught in Vegas for a long, long time. You know how many drug crises and substance abuse cases I've seen come through my fucking studio? A girl that's like, no, I'm just naturally thin. Meanwhile, she's fucking snorting so much snow, her nose collapses. You on that shit?
Interesting if that is, Fancy. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I see that you and Ryan are having a cuddle and you blame me. It's a very strange defense mechanism there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just lost myself for a moment. Well, if he says he's fine, then
yourself in Fancy?
no. If he says he's fine, then he's fine. Worst case scenario, we have to pick him up after a crash later, which then Eugene is not exactly out of the normal.
Hey, I don't cry.
What me and
I don't know what
Ryan
you're talking about.
do is me and Ryan. Not that there's anything in particular, but what me and Ryan do is what me and Ryan do. Thank you very fucking much. We're not asking about where this happened, and she motions to him entirely.
Oh yeah, is Eugene fucking
This.
soaked right now? No, boo. Is there like physical? How nasty of a drinker are you, Eugene? Is there like physical evidence of you snacking on you?
No. I don't think he'd be sweating blood that possible because the dude was pretty hot. But I don't think he's sweating blood through his pores.
No, like as in whenever you bite down, are you somebody who gets it all? Are you a true swallower, or did some of it do you tend to have a nasty bite?
Phrasing.
So that's a great question. But right now, Eugene, how would you feel if someone pissed on your boot?
Oh no.
And handed you
pretty good, actually.
That's where you are right now. They're pissing on your parade. So, with that in mind, your composure slipping. Because they keep pissing on your boot. And it's fine, they don't want to humble themselves and get down and wipe it off, but they won't even give you the napkin that they're holding in front of you, waving in front of you. They pissed on your boot. And they keep pissing on your boot.
Because of the huge amount of respect Eugene has for Fancy and Ryan, he's going to stop
Number 10.
Pause, a breath, adjust his tie. I don't know what you guys are dealing with right now, but if you guys need some time to pull yourselves together before we proceed, I'm cool with that. I'm gonna step out the room and let you guys pull yourselves together. He says as he's grinding his teeth subliminally and starting to step out of the room while adjusting his tie.
As he steps out, Ryan just looks over to Fancy. Yeah, that's very odd. Do you think he might have snagged himself a tainted package?
Oh yeah, definitely. This fucking hotel? Yeah.
He's doing that thing with his jaw that I've only really seen like meth heads do.
Kind of want to hit him with a baseball bat. Just saying.
Why? Let the man have his party. I mean, fuck, so many terrible things have happened tonight. Let's just regroup, I guess. Clearly, none of us should be alone right now, and you made a very good point of where the fuck Martha's at.
Yeah, do we have, like, does anybody have her number or way of reaching her? Or, like,
I don't know,
next
Martha,
of
do we?
kin?
Martha, do we have your number?
Mike respond. Yes, I think you do.
Ryan's like, yeah, I've got a number. Though, none of us tend to keep a very, what's the word? Long-lived cell phone on us for obvious reasons. I'm just hoping that she hasn't rotated this one out. Let's catch up with Eugene and I'll give her a call.
Head back inside. All feeling our various things right now.
There's a little skip in some of our steps and a very angry trot in others. And I guess Ryan dials out once we catch up with Eugene. He's just like, Eugene, we're gonna give Martha a call and see if we can catch up with everybody and move on to our next fucking objective. The night is, I wouldn't say young, but it's still got some potential in it.
Considering how fucked this night was off the top, I don't know if I want the potential that it's offering.
Well, we've got things to clean up, and that's what I mean to spend it on. We can't exactly just leave what's happening to others and expect them to clean it up for us, can we? I know that we've got our various organizations, and he's saying all this while the tone is dialing up. I know we've all got our various organizations that we rely on and trust to clean messes, but if we don't put in at least a nominal effort, well, we can't exactly complain if it comes back to bite us, can we?
True. I did call one of my politician buddies and asked him if he could be so kind as to try to get us off the APB, but he seemed a little hesitant because of the gaming commission.
Alright. Gotcha. And by the way, he just taps his phone and puts like a little shush in front of his face. Just make sure that we're not saying anything particularly rude while I'm on the phone. If you catch me meaning.
Gotcha.
Martha, you don't get many calls. In fact, if you were to put your finger on it, you could count on one hand and have fingers left how many calls you typically get. So as you're taking in the world around you from your cage in the back of this car, your phone goes off.
Well, I guess I answer it.
Hello, it's good to meet Anne, sir. We were all wondering where you'd slipped off to after the party.
I had a couple of errands to run. And then I got picked up by the police, so...
Oh, wait, what the fuck? He says, immediately slapping it on speakerphone. Wait, you're with the police right now?
I am.
Like, are they in front of you?
They're around me. I'm in the back of a cruiser.
I see. Did they tell you why you're under arrest?
They have not.
Did they tell you that you are under arrest?
They haven't.
Then why are you in the back of their cruiser?
Good question.
Didn't get out of the cruiser?
I don't think she can do that.
Wait, is that the Rat Pack on the radio?
I think it is.
That's not a regular cop car. The cops are supposed to be listening to the radio all the fucking time. So the fact that they're not listening to the radio and they're listening to the fucking Rat Pack, there's something wrong. Where are you?
Right. Yeah, do you see any street signs that you might be able to recognize?
Well,
What direction are you heading in? We might try to cut you off.
I tell them what I see.
Which is surprisingly easy, considering that you were on your way to the chantry. You were on your way to your sire. You were reaching out for help to fix the issues, or at least try to fix the issues that were abounding, to say the least. The problem with that is, and here's the crux of it all. Martha, you have a decision to make. Saying where you are, letting them know where you are, means that they will come for you. That much you are sure of. It's one of the few times in your living and undead existence where you know that people, other beings, give more than half a shit as to what happens to you. Your sire, great person though they are, you can't say the same over. There's a definitive no failure clause in your existence. The Tremere don't fail. They don't give themselves over to folly. They don't trust, because only steel sharpens steel. So you have a decision to make. You have a choice. If you let them know, you know for a fact that they will come for you. And they will also know that you are on your way to River Angel's establishment. They will also know, because there's not much on Decatur. There's not much. And while, you still are clearly a few miles, but Russell to Decatur, there's not much on Decatur. They would know or be able to piece together that there's in fact a non-chantry on Decatur and Quain. And while you haven't quite made it there and you are still just south of Flamingo on Decatur, you would be potentially opening that doorway.
Oh, I think I gotta tell them anyway. Seems like the better choice. I'll deal with the consequences if they find out about the chantry here.
So do tell.
I'm on Decatur.
Next to Spring Valley, or are you in the southwest side of Decatur?
Just south of Flamingo.
South of Flamingo.
All right. You heading? What direction you heading?
North.
North.
All right. Well, we'll take the 15. See if I can't catch you up. Hopefully you keep heading north. We'll see if we can. And he's just like moving towards the door and guiding everybody along with him. We'll see if we can't catch you along that road and try and get you out.
I appreciate it.
Just
Are we sure this is a normal cop?
yeah, just hold on the phone and take any moment that you can to get out of there.
I'll
Also,
do.
he just kind of also. I don't know if they are in the vehicle with you, but I am going to hope and pray that you have not been talking in a suspicious way back there.
No, I don't think I have been. And they're not in the vehicle. Although, I would assume there's a recorder in here.
Okay, then just set the phone down, obscured as best you can, so that they don't see you on the phone, and just keep it on as you're driving. Get as much information out of them as you can. We'll be on our way.
I'll see what I can do.
As he's just, andale, arriba.
Cruel mistress. It is the thief of all ways, and it is always thieving. It is always taking. It never returns much of anything. There's no warning when you are at the last of the good days. There's no warning when you shake the hand or give a hug to a loved one for the last time. There's never a glowing alert that lets you know that trouble only gets worse from here. There's no warning when the last time you have the opportunity of having a conversation or sharing a good word with someone who matters. So as you all make the drive, as you cut west across Las Vegas, as you bend north down Decatur, is there any conversation that you all are having on your way there?
So how bombastic do we want to be in getting her out? Because if we are aware that that is a tainted cop, then that doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't actually a cop. And killing them could lead to disastrous situations.
That's something I was gonna say. I'm like, just because we think they're not a real cop, there's still proof, and if they have the kind of power that most of these motherfuckers do, they probably have legit looking stuff, so you don't know whether or not they're actually cops until it's too fucking late. But just the behavior makes me think they're not, or they're not scared enough. So that's gonna be a problem. I think we should be careful and precise until we have to not be.
Well, I got a suggestion. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it or want it, but I'm gonna say it. Considering we're not sure if they're cops, not sure whether or not the APB that ensnared our friend Martha, I think I'm gonna play this one back, because if they were looking for Martha, we both know they were looking for me. For some reason, you guys think I'm high as hell, which gives them all the necessary requirements to try to grab me as well.
Nice too.
But I got one little point. You made a lovely point, and that's wonderful. But I got a counterpoint to that point. We're not splitting the fuck up. We already lost Martha. There's only 3 of us left. We need to stay the fuck together. So if you want to lay down in the back and hide and pretend you're not in the car, cool, do that shit. But we need to stay together. So that's all there is.
That was my plan, was to stay down. But if you guys want me to up the pistol, let me know. Thumbs down, and I'll come out and up the pistol. Other than that, I'm planning on trying to be as hidden and inconsequential as possible.
Yeah, what precise did you not get?
That's it.
Alright, so we're all agreed, we're all fine?
I'm good with it. I mean, I've been having a great day.
Alright. Then... What? Okay, I'm sorry, I got a little bit thrown off by that. So, how angry are we going to be? Like, how violent are we going to be on this particular individual?
Okay, so let's just put it this way. We can try and talk our way out of this, or talk enough to get her free. If that's not going, as long as we feel like we might not have no fucking witnesses, which is gonna be hard because all the fucking cameras in the city. If we find a open point to make this particular problem disappear, maybe we should do that.
Alright. Well, I'm not exactly in my right mind, so I'm gonna leave that call to you, Fancy, and we'll move from there.
There is a commonly understood saying, an aphorism: the best laid plans of mice and men oft go awry. Or, more commonly, man plans, God laughs. One can never know the future. The more you try to plan and minimize the reactions to what comes next, the less success you have. Because you get caught up in how many toes did the lion have versus just fucking run from the lion. And you don't have to outrun the lions, you have to outrun the person next to you. So as you all come barreling within the posted speed limit down Decatur, and you see a quarter of a block ahead of you, Martha's car pulled to the side of the road, behind which is a poorly marked police vehicle. It's obvious that it's just a cursory, superficial police vehicle. The problem that you all have, those of you who have connections to the Down and Out Club, those of you who have dealt with the police, for those of you who have ties to organized and disorganized crime, you all took just enough time, speeding as you were wont and able to when you were able to, leaving as quickly as you could, bundling and trundling into your vehicle to get there. Martha, after hanging up the call, moving your phone back out of sight, everything's going fine as far as such things go, because all it is just a weight factor. That is until the SUV pulls in behind you. With its lights at its height, it is impossible to tell from inside the back of the car that it is just an SUV and not one of the SUVs used by LVPD or one of the county's vehicles. That bubble gut that happens when you're in trouble. That spidey sense that has been silent for you this entire evening begins screaming in your ear as several suited and angry-looking persons exit the SUV, and not one of them is wearing a police uniform. In fact, if you were to put your fingers on it, based on nothing more than your ability to see clearly, there's nothing remotely police-like about them. You can swear that one of them is a hunchback. You can swear that one of them is wider than he should be, or his arms look a little bit longer than they should. But the lights of the SUV between you and clearly seeing them and trying to look back causes that light to dance all over your eyes and block your view. Your eyes are open, but sight is not one thing that comes very easily when you have halogens beaming all of their essence into you. 5 individuals exit the SUV. Is there anything that Martha is attempting, contemplating, or preparing?
Do I have Blush of Life going?
You didn't, but you can.
This seems like something I might want to do.
Will you blush your light?
Yeah.
And what is Martha's occult or politics?
My cult is 3, but let me check my politics. I don't have any politics.
It is not good at all. That means you're not completely aware of the movers and the shakers within the community. Luckily for you, your occult does. When Nosferatu are masquerading as non-kindred, there's always a tell. The eyes are a little too close, the skin's a little too waxy or patchy or too perfect. There's always some eerie, not quite normalized aesthetic about them. Hunchbacks, longer arms, a gait that doesn't make sense, almost as if there's another leg helping them walk. There is always something disturbingly just off. And as you watch as these 5 individuals exit the SUV, your skin begins to crawl. Your stomach bubbles. Now that you've blushed, you can actually hear the gurgling of the fear taking place in the center of your being, because these are not mortals. And you are in a cage with beings on the other side of the bars having supernatural strength. The one thing you never want to be is trapped when there's more than one Nosferatu who seems to be coming for you. And guess what? That's exactly where you are. You are in a confined, hemmed-in space. And the officer leaning against your car on his cell phone puts his cell phone down. The conversation is clearly over. And as these 5 individuals close on the vehicle that you are trapped within, there anything that you might be attempting? Going once, going twice, going 3 times for the show.
I'm hoping they're going to play by the masquerade.
Yeah, no one gets shot, stabbed, beat, or choked out by the police by accident. Right? While you're hoping and praying and counting your stars, who's driving? Ryan, Jean, Fancy. Who's driving?
Probably Ryan.
Yeah, fuck it, we ball.
Oh, Ryan.
Why is everybody voting the guy with 0 dots in drive?
Because I'm on an APB, so me driving will probably be not the best option.
You know what? You are right.
Well,
Fancy also has 0 dots.
and we saw what happened last time Fancy drove.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad driver, but you remember she was driving the party bus.
no, that was Ryan. I was a passenger.
Yeah, actually, on our way down to Prim, that was me. Why is it every time we consider crashing our vehicle as a tactical strategy, I'm the driver?
Alright, Fancy can do it this time.
No, it's okay. I'll drive.
So as you close on Martha's locals on Decatur, and the 5 suited and otherwise remarkably non-police-like individuals are approaching the vehicle, as the police officer that is leaning against her vehicle puts away his cell phone. What is it that you all are doing?
Fancy, those don't look like suits out there. What are we doing? Crash and burn or low and steady?
Let's go bowling.
Alright, you two should probably get out the vehicle right now, he says as he's...
Yeah, usually gets out the car. Already ready to grip the gun, but he's not doing it yet, but he really wants to.
Okay, so while you're tucking and rolling, Fancy, what about you? Are you getting out of the car or are you staying along for the ride?
I'm saying that that's absolutely ridiculous to jump out of a moving car.
Well, I hope that you like cushion. I'm gonna activate Weight of the Feather on myself and just... and slam into the largest cluster of them, I guess.
Excellent. That means we have several rolls that need to take place. Eugene, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your stamina plus athletics to tuck and roll and not crash yourself too hard against the pavement that's speeding away from you? And Fancy, would you be so kind as to roll your composure and athletics? And lastly but not leastly, Ryan, would you be so kind as to roll your composure and drive as high as you all possibly can? Because Ryan, your role of course is contested, and if you score higher than Fancy and Eugene, they will receive the damage of quick and non-tasteful collision with the asphalt beneath the car and the car's airbag punching the back of Fancy's head from the front.
Okay, on that note, what was my hunger turned into after nomming on Fancy? Dose, alright.
And I guess I have the same question, but in reverse, like how many did I lose? Because I was faded before.
Yes.
Snake. We'll just ignore that because it's unapplicable to the situation.
Yeah, I'm the one who made yourself. Okay, so
You guys are some lucky bitches. This is why you chose the one shitter who can't drive.
now here comes the fun part. Martha, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your stamina plus athletics?
Okay.
Now, is there DC 3? Or is it 2? I'm trying to figure out the initiator score here.
Who, the bad guys? You guys?
Yeah, for those that have to resist getting hit by a vehicle.
Yes.
Alright. Wait, where's Eugene's roll? Because I need my mental image of this. Oh.
Eugene didn't do so well.
Yeah. At first I was like, yeah, Eugene dives out, does a few rolls, and then gets up onto a crouch while opening fire. And now I look at it, it's like, no, Eugene jumped out into a telephone pole.
Not quite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not quite. Act 2, it's a tie. So, yeah, he could have been considerably far more graceful, to say the least. But, as far as he is concerned, while he is zooming on the top of Mount Cocaina, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. This is absolutely great. There's two things that are in this world that I don't break. My falls and my balls. And, well, you know, that's where he is in regards to that. Fancy braces and rides through the storm. Unfortunately, so do the Nosferatu who are closing on Martha. The revving of the engine and the fact that this is Las Vegas, hit and runs happen all the damn time. They leap out of the way. Not laughingly, but they do leap to safety. They do dive, tuck, and roll away from the oncoming vehicle. Unfortunately for Ryan, and a body in motion continues in motion unless, of course, acted on by another. And in this case, what acts on and slows down the vehicle that Ryan is in is the police car in which Martha was sitting in the back of.
Oh no.
The crash of metal, the screech and pain of the engine running into the gas tank, the back quarter panel of the vehicle, is enough to rattle teeth and jar bones. The exchange between you all and them is the stuff of fantasy. It's hyper-violent. It is over the top. It is the stuff that you write home to mother about. And it's a dead heat between what you all bring to bear and what they counter and throw back. It is a tennis match between two determined, skilled, and talented forces. It is a dead heat, and seconds tick by, turning into minutes. What seems like lifetime battle, as if you were born on the battlefield, is literally nothing more than seconds ticking by. All comes to Earth. shit meets fan. When the rubber meets the road, it is 16 after the hour. And I thank you all for a lovely episode. Good night, everybody.
Hell yeah! That is a way to do our lovely end of the season as Dragula is just being blared down the road. The screech of heavy metal and the sound of panic and anger.